Hi guys, welcome to today's video. I hope the audio is okay for you. I'm trying out my new audio solution, so hopefully it makes the videos a little bit better for you guys. Now, today what we're going to talk about is what I think one of the best, if not for me anyway, in my experience, the best DSLR that Canon has ever made is, and that is the 1Dx Mark II, and I'm going to tell you why this is by far, in my opinion, the best DSLR they've ever made. That obviously might change whenever I get my hands on a Mark III, but for now, this is the one. This is my pick for the best DSLR they've ever made. So it's all my opinion. You can disagree with it if you want to, but what I'm going to do first is, as always, we're going to get in some of the imagery, some of my favourite imagery of over the last 2 years of using this camera. And then what I'll go through is talk to you why I feel that this is the best DSLR Canon have ever made. So let's head in to those images right now. Okay, so the first photo we're going to look at here is of a female leopard carrying her 5-week-old cub here, and you see this was taken on the 300mm f2.8, and just look how sharp is that, how everything is where it needs to be. This was a split-second moment to get this photo, so without the autofocus system being spot on the 1Dx Mark II, you just would never have got this image. If I was on the R3 and waited for it to do its whole tracking stuff, I would have missed this photo opportunity. There's no ifs, no buts, nothing. This is a photo that I could only have got on a DSLR, and I've spoken to a few other photographers. Some of them were RX Pro, and they've agreed 100% that without a DSLR, this shot would have been missed. So this is the first sort of example of why I think the 1Dx Mark II is by far the best DSLR that Canon ever made. So this is the cub on its own. This is taken on a 500mm f4. And you can see the details just super sharp. The colours it produces really, really nice as well. A little bit of the blue still there in its eyes. Really nice, sort of cute, slightly confused face, but you know, it's just a really nice image, really nicely framed. Obviously, where the AF points can be moved to, and just I love this photo just for the colours, the atmosphere, everything. So this photo here was taken on the 70-200 f2.8. Mark 1, and this was slight timing, a little bit of luck, but again just shows why you need a fast autofocusing system on the camera. This is me waiting about half an hour watching the routine of this Jaguar, and occasionally it would walk straight towards me. Now where it's coming out from, you've got a split second to get the eye tracking on if you're using a mirrorless camera, or I'd already preempted where my AF point needed to be to get the eye, so I'm quite used to that now of using this camera so long. I had it preset, had it at 70mm, and as it walked towards me I just took a load of shots, bob, 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 and then managed to get this one here. So a little bit of luck, but again, really nice photo with the 1Dx Mark II. And this photo here could have been taken on R3, as you can get it on a mirrorless easily, but this was taken on the 200-400 f4. And it's just a really cheeky photo. I like it. He's got his food. He's super happy. His little baby mandrill here, and it's this cheeky little grin, big beautiful eyes on this one here, and just a really nice photo. I like it. That's why I put it in here. So this photo here is taken on 300mm f2.8, and this is a leopard that I've taken photos of now for absolutely years. I know his routine to the millisecond, and you just sit there, you watch him do his little circuits, and then one point he starts walking towards you, and this is the result of that. This is just as he's literally about to turn to his right, which is why he's paused like it is. But that split second, eyes straight focusing on me and me alone, and just really nice details across the whole face here, shot at 2.8. The separation, the autofocus system allowing me to get to this, just the colours, everything is just absolutely perfect. This is shot in really low light. This is 10,000 ISO, and it's just a really, really nice sharp image for that ISO. and I'm super happy with it. And this final one here is taken on the 200-400 with the 1.4 adapter engaged, and this is a tiger I've never really taken photos of before, but I've watched it for about an hour, watching its routine, and then worked out where to stand to get it coming straight towards me, looking at me, and managed to get this really nice side profile, half profile, sorry, of its face here, with the eyes just perfectly in focus, so sharp, nice reflection in there. You can see his teeth have got a bit of a hole in there. It's very old cat, 16 years old, this tiger is, so getting a bit old, but just how nice, sharp, detailed the imagery is, you know, like the colours, everything is just such a beautiful image, and I couldn't not add it to this list. But this is the final image. Let's go now talking back about the reasons why I think the 1DX Mark II is one of the best DSLRs ever made. So as you can see from the images I've just shown you, that number one, the image quality on this camera is absolutely incredible. For a camera that's only 20 megapixels, and the fact that a lot of those photos are in fact cropped in and still maintaining such a high level of detail, just shows you how good the sensor is on this camera and how well designed it was by Canon at the time to give you that full frame, 20 megapixels, super fast shutter speed to be able to capture so many photos, and just all of them just being so high quality. The focusing system itself as well is absolutely incredible, super reliable. I still maintain in low light conditions is more reliable than my R3, which some of you agree with, some of you disagree with. Again, that's my opinion from using both for long-term periods of time. The next thing as well that makes this incredibly good is how durable the body is. Even though, again, we'll compare it to my R3, the durability on that, even though it's still a magnesium body, it just doesn't feel as well built as the 1D. Now apparently the R1 does feel a bit more like the 1DX, and I'm going to hopefully get my hands on one of them next month at the camera show in London, so I'll be able to tell you how I feel about that when I get hands on. But compared to the R3, which was at the time of me getting this camera and getting obviously the R3 was the top of the line mirrorless camera, and just the build quality, I have once dropped the R3 by accident because it disconnected from the lens, and it works fine from that. But the actual like finish on there, so around where the dial is up on the top here, there's actually wear now appearing on the camera from where I switched the dial around to and from. And I've had this 1DX Mark II for 2 years, and it was secondhand when I bought it, and it's absolutely pristine in that area of no wear whatsoever. And I'm using the cameras both in exactly the same way, so why is the R3 already losing its paint? Just the way they built these 1D, I don't know why they didn't build the mirrorless in the same manner, but it's so durable. The battery life is incredible. I can get 5,000 shots off a single battery on one of these if I'm just doing photography. I would assume if you do video, I don't do video on my DSLRs, but I'd assume do video, you obviously run that down pretty quickly if you're doing 4K especially. But I'm getting, say, 5,000 shots per battery on one of these, so that's well shooting past the 128GB cards that I run in there, which can hold about 2,500 photos. And just the way everything's just so intuitive on here, so where the button placements are, the whole layout on the back, just everything is where you want it to be, and in really nice, for my hand size anyway, really easy to get to everything without having to overstretch and overexert to get to everything that you need to. The way that when you want to change your cards, you just flick the back up and the top opens up, and they're right there ready to go. You can see them directly like that. You can't open it by mistake. You don't have a cover on the top, because it's not an electronic hot shoe. But because of that, you don't have to worry about anything falling off. My R3 no longer has one because I've gone through 6 now of the covers on the top, and I'm going to talk to Canon about it when I see them in person and see if they can, at this point, if I can try and get a lockable cover from them, almost like under warranty, because going through 6 of them is starting to take the mick now at this point. I don't want it to short out the camera by not having that cover on there. So I'm going to talk to them when I see them, but this you don't have to worry about that. Little things as well, like the eyepiece on this. This is the original eyepiece from when the camera came out in 2012, I believe this came out. And it's absolutely fine, no cuts, no rips, nothing. R3 already got a rip. My old R7 has gone through 3. My dad's replaced 2 more than I replaced 1. His R6 has already got a rip on it. My R6 had a rip on it. So they're just not making these little small bits to the same quality they used to, which is a real shame, because it's little bits like that cost like 20, 30, 40 quid here and there, which you don't want to pay out. So the batteries, these are expensive, but they last a long time. They're easy to get hold of, work really well, and it's just it just feels like a good rugged camera. When you've got it in hand, you've got a nice prime lens. Even when you've got a short lens on, to be honest, it just feels really well and good in the hands. I've been using it a lot with the 500mm, and the balance is really nice with that big heavy lens on the front of it, and don't have any issues at all using it. Because it's an EF lens, mate, you can use so many older lenses that are so cheap now and still get a really good quality body. Obviously, I'd always recommend using it with L-glass, because that's what it was designed really as a pro body to use against, and the glass is the most important part of your camera bag. So try and invest in glass if you can. But overall, for the money these are now, like, if you're willing to get a little beaten up one, £1,000. If you want something slightly better quality, £1,800 with a low shutter count is unbelievable for a camera like this. Obviously, when I get the Mark III eventually, that will probably then be my next favourite. But this is so far my personal favourite DSLR Canon have ever made. Just so good. And you can see again from the imagery that I've taken over the past 2 years, it's just so reliable. And you're just guaranteed always to get the shot. If I know I'm going out and I want to get a photo, and I know I need to get a certain photo, I will always take this out over the R3, because I know I can guarantee a more higher percentage of hit rate with a DSLR, with the 1DX Mark II, than I can with the mirrorless system. So by the time it's faffing out trying to work out what you're trying to focus on, you can just put this on your focus point, line it up with what you want to take a photo of, and you've got your photo. So hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. I know last time I talked about when I announced this is going to be my main wildlife camera over the R3, there were some people who got a little bit triggered by that. If you want to use a mirrorless camera as your primary, I do not mind. I do use the R3, I use it a lot, but just not as much as this camera. That is my choice. You can use whatever you want. I'm not going to judge you on it. If you prefer an R5 than over a 1DX Mark II and think that's a better camera overall, by all means, that's your opinion, and I accept that. So don't put in the comments and start having a go saying how dumb someone is, or slagging other people off in the comments, because I will delete your comment and I will ban you from the channel. I had to do it with one person last time. I don't want to have to do it again. So let me know down below your thoughts, be respectful, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. See you again soon. Goodbye.